Hey guys, this is Jake here at Canadian Cutting Edge, and today what I'm bringing to you is this Tuya knife. Full-size folding blades that they have, ceramic ball bearings, D2 steel, G10 handle scales, a full-size folder flipper. This is a very nice knife. I have not found out about Tuya knives before this spring. I saw this at Amazon.com and I ordered one, and this is the very first one that I've had my hands on. Just today, as I was looking around the web, I found that there is a distributor for these in the United States, Warren EDC Blades. They've got a small website. I'll put a link to that down below. Hopefully I can begin a relationship with them so that I can afford to review more of these knives. As most of you know, I live on a disability pension, and so finances are often very tight, and thankfully I can get a lot of knives done economically to me from different vendors, which I appreciate an awful lot. So this knife, we've got a skeletonized knife, nice light full-size blade. It's got like a modified harpoon Bowie style blade. Very interesting. Nice G10. The company, I think, looks a lot like, or I know looks a lot like Bestech's knives, if you ask me. Bestech does this thing with the black on the ricasso here, or you can get it stone washed. They have it several different colors of G10, so very much like what Tuya Knives is doing. Bestech also has a line of knives with titanium handle scales. Tuya Knives has the same thing. So they look very, very similar in a lot of ways. Very similar price points. Who knows, those two companies might be related. They might be totally unrelated, and it might be just coincidental. I don't know, but I'm certainly going to ask questions. Here we go. Nice full-size folder that I have been enjoying to no end. First thing I want you to notice is there's no forward choil here, like it's not rounded really, but we've got a nice sharpener's choil and then this flat area with this milled out section right there. And it's very comfortable for the index finger right there. If you put it right by that crease, right in there, you can get a good hold of it, or you can put it with the middle of that second section, right in the middle of that. Quite comfortable. And safe too. I haven't nicked my finger at all on there. It's a pretty good size right there. Then we've got this first, sort of like a choil on this side with where the release is. It's a generous cutout section to access the liner lock with that little bit of jimping on there. Very easy to unlock this knife, no problem at all. And then it's mostly sort of flat along the belly. A little bit of extra jimping right down here. And along the spine of the back, it's sort of rounded, and then you've got this dip. And then at the very end, you've got a small back spacer. And I'm starting to really like these little back spacers. I like open pillar construction, but these little back spacers are also quite neat. I really like how they give you access to a lanyard hole that's usually a tunnel all the way through. This one's not. I don't know if you can see it with the light in there. See that dark section right there? So that's part of the hole for the lanyard hole. So there's just a little bit of exposed, about a third of the hole is exposed to the inside of the handle right there. Still pretty easy to fish a piece of lanyard paracord through there if you want to. A little bit of jimping of the sort back there on the spine of the handle. So just 3 of them. That's pretty nice. And then angles back again. And then you're at the end of the handle. So very comfortable that way. So a more traditional kind of grip like this, or a pinch grip like this, or a reverse grip, which is very nice with this angle right here. Your thumb can get right along there. Or you can go up a little bit, and then you've got this flat section for your thumb to get on. Works very, very well. And this section here, I really don't understand what it could do. I guess you could do a kind of grip like this, but that doesn't make any sense to me. You got your pinky up there on that section. I don't know. But it has a little bit of a dip there, and it's not bothersome at all. And then we've got inside the knife, we've got the liners, and the liners have some skeletonizing in it. I wish they would have gone a little more aggressive with the skeletonizing. This thing isn't overweight really, but I would like it to be a little bit lighter. And since I'm on that subject, let's show you the inside of this knife. Check out those bearings. We've got ceramic ball bearings in this pivot on that brass kind of cage, and a ceramic detent on the liner right there. So that's really good. Ceramic is actually harder than steel, and it's actually fairly slippery on steel as well. So I really do like the ball bearings on there. Ceramic. And then we've got the blade here. What do we have for this blade? Well, we've got D2 steel. That's what it says right there. And there's the knife and the model T1601-ET. Let me show you a picture that you probably saw on the cover, but maybe you can see a few more details, the different ways that you can get this knife. So as you can see, there's lots of color combinations, and you can get it with or without the ricasso done in this black acid wash. And I like it a lot. We've got a nice little rise, a thumb rise section there, and a point, and then it comes down to a clip point, a lot like a Bowie. We've got this swedge down in here, and then you can see the milling on the blade, on the bevel. So the bevel's got this nice milling on it that you can see, and the swedge has got the milling in the same direction, the line's going there, quite nice. And there's their triangle logo for the Tuya. I really like that logo, it's very nice. And you know, a really good belly on the blade, and then a good flat section here. Very, very useful knife. And then the handle, the G10 handle scales, they've got some milling here with lines in it. I think you can clearly see that. And then this higher section here along with that section, and then these milled lines in here again. It really does remind me of the way Bestech does their knives. And then you got this pocket clip, this fold over pocket clip, nice and deep. The screws are deep enough, or this section here is high enough that your pants don't get caught on there. Your pants go all the way to the full depth. So that's about 1/2 centimeter that you have left showing out of your pocket, but it's only this tiny triangle. So it's quite discreet in your pocket, and yet easy to access and pull out. The pocket clip's not huge. A knife this size, you might think that the pocket clip is an extra, you know, 1/2 inch long or something, but really nice size. I like it an awful lot. And that's pretty much the visual description of the knife. So how well does it work? Well, it doesn't get hot in the hand. I used it for an extensive amount of cutting, a lot of different slicing. The bevel, the grind angle on this bevel was just under 20 degrees on one side and a bit over 20 degrees on the other side, and quite sharp. And so I used it for a long time. I really like this knife. And I have since then sharpened it myself and given it a really nice 20 degree on each side grind. And, you know, sharpened up very well. The grind was, this last 1/2 inch right here was ground actually quite steep, more like 25 or 26 degrees, just for that last little 1/2 inch. So I guess the sharpener touched it on the stone a little bit wrong right there. It was sharp, but it was a steeper angle right there. Functional? Yes, very, very functional. This is a user's knife for sure. If you're going to be using your knife a fair bit, this knife will do it. Oh, I forgot to mention the lockup. When you close up the knife, blade centering is perfect from the factory. Very, very nice. Lockup is exactly where I like a brand new knife to be. You can see the shoulder of the blade and the shoulder of the liner are lining up on that side, and so you've got more than half of the wear left on the knife, and yet lockup is very secure, so I like that an awful lot. A little bit of jimping on the back of the flipper, I forgot to mention that before. So that acts as a little bit of help with the guard, and when you're flipping the knife, if you're going to do light switch method, you know, that helps a little bit with that too. It's a fairly heavy knife, and I think I put too much oil in the pivot. I'm going to take it apart again and dry some of that off. That oil is actually slowing down the action a bit. The action was faster before I took it apart and re-oiled it. One of the negatives that I found that, a knife like this, and at the price point that it is, there's no excuse for it. We've got a free spinning pivot, and there's nothing to grab on this side. It's just round, and it's nicely milled round. Slides easily. It took a bit of doing, also because the torque size here is 6. I'd much prefer 8. The torque size is 6, and so it took a lot of wrist action, quick kind of movements to try to get it to start moving, to come loose, while I'm pushing on this end with my thumb. It's annoying how hard it is to undo this knife, but you can get it done. I used my drive grip right from the start for sure. If you don't know what drive grip is, it's a really good product that helps you get really good grip inside screw holes, especially for Torx and Phillips and other tools where you've got a number of edges there and your screwdrivers might not always grip and then they strip. Drive grip is a solution for that that works great. I've got a video on it. I'll put a link to that video right up here in this corner at the very end of this video, at least if you're watching on YouTube. If you're watching on other channels, you might not see it there. Okay, so now let's do, actually one thing I forgot to mention before I do that is the box that it comes in. It's a nice box. You've got some nice texture on the box. I think you can see it on that angle. And their brand right there. It's just a nice little box. And you get a cloth with it. I forgot to check the cloth to see if it has any branding on it, or if it's just a nice cloth. Hadn't taken it out at all yet. But it's always nice to get a nice microfiber cloth, which is what you get here. So that helps to wipe off the fingerprints. Yeah, that works very nice. Very nice indeed. So I like that cloth. Box is nice. And it does have a little bit higher price than the ultra low knives that I've been buying. I got this for just under $50, and so can you. Well, that's US dollars. Amazon has it for $49.90 right now. I bought it in June. Today is August, early August. I bought it in June, and it was $45.90, so it's gone up for about $5. That's unfortunate, $4 or $5. In Canadian, that equals around 65 Canadian dollars. That's about 43 euros. It's about 38 British pounds as of August 1st. As of July 31st, I should say. I checked the prices on July 31st. So the price isn't bad for what you get. I think it's a good price for what you get because you're getting a very nice knife. Very good indeed. So let's talk about the dimensions here. The cutting edge is 8.78 centimeters. That's 3.46 inches. So almost a 3.5 inch cutting edge. The blade length is just a little bit longer. 8.98 centimeters, 3.53 inches. The blade thickness is 3.7 millimeters. That's 0.1455 inches. So nice thick stock right back here. That chamfer up here helps make it look thin when you look down the edge. Very sturdy tip, by the way they made it. But we're doing dimensions, so let's keep going. Blade depth, so spine to the belly, is 2.8 centimeters. That's 1.1 inches. The thickness of the edge behind the grind, about an inch from the end right here, yeah, you can really see my fingerprints now, is 0.42 millimeters, 0.0165 inches. Excellent. I love how thin that is behind the grind. It's not too thin to be, a very weak edge, but it's thin enough to become a great slicer, and this is a great slicing knife. And I already mentioned the grind angle. Now for the handle length is 12.8 centimeters, 5.04 inches. The grip area, so after the flipper tab back here to right about here on your handle, 10.44 centimeters, 4.11 inches. The handle thickness, not counting a pocket clip, is 1.5 centimeters. That's 0.59. That's at the thickest point, but the thickest point is not too wide, and so it's a very good thickness. My grip on here is awesome. The handle depth, and that's this way right here in the middle where it's the biggest, is 2.76 centimeters, 1.09 inches. The total length of this knife with the blade deployed is 21.6 centimeters, 8.5 inches on the nose. It weighs 140 grams, that's 4.9 ounces. And that's where I was talking about the weight. If they would have skeletonized, if they would have made those holes just a bit bigger, they could have maybe brought this thing down to 4.5 ounces instead of 4.9, maybe. Maybe it would have taken more. Maybe it would have required a thinner blade to take off a little bit of weight. But under 5 ounces, hey, that's still going strong. It's really good for a full-size folder like this with that 3.5-inch blade. I am very much liking this knife. Okay, let's cover the features again, what I like and don't like. I like the grips on this thing. By the way, my hands are between large and extra large, between 10 and 11 in the European sizes, and that fits this knife very, very well. So if you've got big hands, this knife is going to fit you very, very well, even medium-sized hands. But if you've got small men's hands, you're going to have to want a big knife before you go out and get this guy, because it is a big knife. Very sharp from the factory, very nice tip from the factory. Thumb rest is there with that jimping, but it's not too aggressive. And this little bit of whatever they've done here, I guess you can call it a jimping of sorts. You know, very good jimping on here. And, you know, all the other places where they have it, you know, very well done that way. The lanyard hole is quite good. It's nice and far back and, you know, totally functional. What are some of the cons on it? Well, it's not a significant con, but I wish it was just a little bit lighter. I really wish they used T8 screws. And even mostly, I wish they would not use free spinning pivots. That's actually a big deal for me. Oh, I haven't talked about the stop pin on a lot of my knives for a while. It's a good size stop pin, plenty big enough. And let me talk about the distributor that I found Warren EDC blades. It's got to be a small little distributor, some ma and pop shop, something very little, because their address is Warren EDC Blades at GoDaddySites.com. So I think that's even a free site or a very low-cost site. So somebody just got into a relationship with Tuya knives in the United States, and I think they're doing a great job by bringing these knives into North America. They are very good. I will be definitely getting more Tuya knives to review. I'll put the details and the address for Warren knives down below. I got mine from Amazon, so I'll put the links for Amazon down below as well. It's only on Amazon.com. I didn't find it on the UK or Germany or Canadian sites. Sorry. So what do you think of this knife? From what you've seen, from what you have heard, I really wish my lighting was better. Can't wait till I get back home. But I think this is an awesome knife. Oh, one other negative that I've mentioned before, I really wish they would put left-hand side pocket clip options. It's not really making the knife look that much worse by reaching out to our lefties and providing them with a left pocket clip as well. That's even good for some of us guys who like to carry more than one knife. You know, one knife on each side. You know, I really wish lefties would get a little bit more respect. I grew up left-handed, but I learned how to be ambidextrous, so I can use a knife right-handed very, very well. No problems at all. And I encourage my lefty friends to work that right hand an awful lot. Get better with your right hand. Just because I don't think the knife industry is going to be that nice to us. You know, it's up to us to help ourselves, right? So there you go. Here's this knife made in China. Looks great. I bought it out of my own money. I think you can trust my reviews even when I get the knives given to me, because I treat every knife exactly the same way when I review it. Thank you so much for watching, liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing to this channel. You guys are the best. Remember, always cut towards your chum, not your thumb.